Welcome. I'm going to take you on a little journey about your spine so that it'll help you connect with the ball better. The spine is one of the areas that we all love to roll, but often don't get the most out of it because you don't really understand how to connect properly. So I thought it might be helpful to make this little video to give you a brief anatomy lesson about your spine. I'm going to keep it really simple, so don't worry. I think that if you visualize this, it's going to really help you. So the spine actually has almost like a serpentine shape, right? You have a sacrum that curves in this direction. It has 5 vertebrae, right? With your tailbone being at the end. And then it dips into this lumbar curve because it has a new curve. This one's, you go from convex to concave, and then you have 5 vertebrae here. So you have 5 vertebrae here connecting to the next curve, 5 vertebrae in the lumbar. And then when you get up here to the floating rib and the hard rib cage, it's really easy. You just feel for this area here. You take your thumbs behind you right there. You are at the beginning of your thoracic spine. And we all know how when we roll in this thoracic spine, how great it feels to extend, but you still need to keep a connection to every piece along the way. So we have 12 vertebrae in this. Once we go from the lumbar to the thoracic, you've got T12, and then right at the top of the shoulder level, you have T1. Then you go back into the same curve as the lumbar for your cervicals. And you have 7 cervical vertebrae that attach up here into the occiput or the back of your skull. So these landmarks are really important because you want to almost like release and open and align and get energy and blood flow into these movable parts, right? So the ability to turn your head side to side independently from the shoulders. The rib cage can move in different directions without incorporating your lumbar spine. You can actually take your sacrum, tuck it under, and curl, right? So that helps the pelvic floor. It helps the hip joint. All these little independent movements are really important to keeping your spine healthy so that you don't calcify up and be like, if you ever been in a car and can't move your neck to turn around and drive out the back of the driveway, we don't want to get like that. So we want to keep our spine healthy, fluid, and energized. So let's also look at this. I want you to think about, this is the most important part about the body rolling. So you have this sacrum. Really, it should be a little bit more tucked than this. These things are never quite, anatomically correct. So look at me too. So you can feel for the base of your spine and put your hand on your tailbone. I often do this in class. And then I want you to tuck just the tailbone without doing a lot of flattening your lumbar curve. You should be able to tuck it in one direction. It's a small move. And then curl it back, tuck it, curl it back. This is a really subtle, good move for your pelvic floor. And also, again, getting that independent movement so that the SI joint doesn't get stagnant and stuck. So the same thing with the lumbar curve. So when we work with the ball, oftentimes I say the best way to achieve like a nice, long, lifted lumbar spine and also to deal with back pain issues is to roll the front of the body, right? Because here's your curve. You can feel that. And grab one of my balls here and show you. This is the crest of your hip here, right? And here's your pubic bone. So we often will start on the pubic bone, roll up this way to the navel, or we'll start on this crest of the hip and really scoop on the inside so that we can get into the muscles that attach to the spine on the front. So when you see it like this, then it makes it more understandable. But to do that, you need to connect from back to front, that is, to spine and breathing into this. So it's never really about losing the back. We wouldn't arch our back to achieve this. And actually, sometimes when we have different kinds of bodies, whether you have hypermobility, meaning you move too much, you're really loosey-goosey, or you might be a really tight structure, it's really important that you do the same technique to connect to the ball because it'll correct whatever your particular body likes to do. So if you're hypermobile, you even have more reason to connect in this way. And if you're super tight, it's going to help you become more flexible. So then the next area I want you to really think about is that sternum to, let's just look at this mid-thoracic area from the top of the shoulders down to the tips of the shoulder blades, and then you've got your sternum here, right? So this is the area here where it feels so good to arch over the ball. However, once again, let me grab my little ball. We don't extend in the lumbar because of the type of curve. It's really hard and it takes too much of you. You're going to end up using way too much abdominal energy and probably injure your neck if you try to do it like that. But we can do this connecting from front. Once we get here to the tips of the shoulder blades, then it feels really good to lift and stimulate, whether it's on one side or the center, up and over the ball. But in order to do that, you want that, again, that front of the body connecting to the back of the body into the ball, connecting the sternum or the front ribs to the back ribs. In other words, what we want to do is first connect this way, front to back, not this. We don't lift and flare our ribs to do that. So it's a connection. Then you get long and then maybe arch a little bit because I always say less is more with the spine. Often I will take us to a big bend at the end, but to get there, you want to slow roll it through these little connections, especially where you transition. Sacrum to lumbar, lumbar to thoracic, thoracic to cervical, cervical to skull. These are all really important to take your time and just feel how when you release these, how much more fluid your body movements are, how much more lifted you become in your entire posture. And it gives you, because we all sit so much these days on computers or in cars, and all that energy can start to settle down into the pelvic floor. The hips weight bear and load, so does the sacrum. So any opportunity you have to revitalize your spine, your body will thank you. So I'm going to create a video companion to this little tutorial and actually show you some of that connection with the ball. Thanks for watching.